Maybe you've felt it too, that quiet discomfort when something doesn't quite add up, even in sacred teachings. You were told that your energy flows through 7 rainbow-colored chakras, each one perfectly aligned, stacked like a spiritual staircase from root to crown. But what if I told you that this model, so widely accepted today, was never part of the original teachings? What if much of what we call chakra wisdom is actually a Western reinterpretation, born less than 100 years ago? The story begins in 1919. An English translator named Sir John Woodroffe published a book called The Serpent Power, a detailed account of ancient tantric texts. But in his translation, something subtle and profound shifted. The original Sanskrit scriptures spoke in poetic, metaphoric layers. They described energy not as rigid centers, but as living, breathing processes of spiritual awakening. But through the lens of Victorian logic and Western intellectualism, the chakras were reshaped. The 7-chakra system became codified, structured, visual. The rainbow colors were added decades later by theosophists. Crystals, oils, and affirmations followed. What began as an esoteric map became a wellness infographic. None of this is wrong, but it's only a fragment of the truth. And when we rely on fragments, healing remains incomplete. If you've ever felt like the chakra meditations don't quite touch your pain, if you've sensed that energy work sometimes feels hollow or overly aesthetic, there's a reason. What you're about to explore is not a rejection of chakras, but a return to their forgotten roots, because when you understand where the distortion began, you begin to reclaim the real map. And with that, the power to navigate your inner world with depth, clarity, and sacred precision. One of the greatest silent myths is that chakras are fixed, measurable wheels of light, placed along a rigid spine. But in the original tantric traditions, chakras were never bound to just 7 points. Some lineages spoke of 5 chakras, others mentioned 9, and in certain esoteric maps, there were dozens, fluid, shifting, responding to inner evolution. Why the difference? Because chakras were never about anatomy, they were about awareness, living expressions of your consciousness that expand and contract with trauma, with healing, with insight, and with silence. Just as your neural pathways change with experience, so too do the sensations and locations of your energetic centers. Have you ever felt your heart center move lower, like grief pulling it down into your belly, or sensed your throat tighten, not from speaking, but from decades of silence? This isn't imagination, it's neural, emotional truth, your inner energy map reflecting your lived experience. So here's an invitation. Don't memorize diagrams, instead, become your own sacred cartographer. Take a quiet moment each week and journal where you feel your energy pulsing, hiding, or awakening. Ask yourself, where do I store my old beliefs? Where does joy rise in my body? What part of me goes numb when I face fear? You'll begin to see something profound. Your chakras aren't gears in a machine, they are mirrors of your evolution. The more conscious your life becomes, the more your energy reorganizes itself. This is not disorder, this is inner alchemy. You've seen the posters. Red for the root, orange for the sacral, violet for the crown. The 7 rainbow chakras, so beautifully arranged, have become icons of spiritual culture. But here's the deeper truth. The ancient texts that first spoke of chakras did not speak of colors, they spoke of sound, vibrations, Bija mantras, the subtle pulses of energy that could be felt, invoked, transformed. The rainbow model we know today? It didn't arrive from India. It was shaped by Western mystics, especially the theosophical movement of the late 19th century. In 1977, a book called Chakras, Energy Centers of Transformation, brought the color-coded system into mainstream consciousness, and from there, it spread like wildfire, color healing, crystal grids, matching your shirt to your blocked chakra. But something subtle was lost. Instead of diving inward, We began reaching outward, focusing on aesthetics over sensation, on symbolism over presence. This isn't to shame color work. Colors have power, they stir emotion, memory, vibration. But when healing becomes only visual, we risk bypassing the body's deeper intelligence. So here's a sacred pivot. Instead of visualizing colors, try this. Sit in stillness. Whisper the Bija sound: lam, vam, ram, yam, ham, om. Silence. Let the vibration guide you, not your imagination, but your cellular awareness. Feel where the sound settles. Let it reveal the true location of your blockage or your awakening, because healing doesn't happen through matching red stones to red energy. It happens when your frequency meets your presence. The 7 chakras are not the whole picture. In fact, the more you look into the original maps, the more you'll find something astonishing. There are not just 7 centers. Some scriptures mention 12 major chakras. Others describe thousands of smaller, invisible nodes, microchakras, spinning in the palms, soles, joints, and subtle fields around the body. These aren't just symbols, they are real sensations, tiny gateways where life force stirs, trembles, or calls attention. Maybe you've felt it. A strange pulsing in your wrist during meditation, a heat in your knees that makes no medical sense, a numbness in the shoulder that no scan can explain. One story from a quiet Reddit forum stayed with me. A woman shared how she thought she had developed arm tendinitis. She tried everything: ice, posture corrections, even physical therapy. Nothing worked. Until one night, after a deep breathwork session, the pain moved. It traveled through her elbow, up her shoulder, and into her chest. She later realized it wasn't physical strain, it was unresolved. Kundalini, a surge of subtle energy trying to awaken without the support it needed. So how do we tell the difference between trauma and energy, between blocked chi and simple tension? It begins with listening, noticing when pain comes with emotion, when discomfort pulses instead of aches, when stillness makes it louder, not quieter, and above all, grounding, because no chakra, no awakening, no light show in your spine will bring peace unless your nervous system feels safe. So here's sacred guidance. Before you rise, root. Before you ascend, anchor. Stand barefoot on the earth, breathe into your lower belly, let your body feel held before you let your soul soar. We often hear, open your third eye, as if awakening your inner vision is the highest spiritual goal. But what they don't often say is that if the third eye opens too early without grounding, it can flood the system with fear, anxiety, or psychic overwhelm. Your body may begin to sense things you're not ready to process. Dreams become chaotic. You feel watched, you feel wired, but deeply exhausted. This isn't spiritual failure, it's nervous system overload. From a psychological lens, it's called top-down cognition, where mental perception outruns somatic safety. You begin to float above your life, seeing more, feeling more, but unable to integrate it. Your root is untended, your sacral is unanchored, and so your vision turns into vigilance. Your intuition becomes hyper-awareness. Your awakening becomes anxiety. So here's what no one tells you. Spiritual awakening must begin in the body. Your third eye should be the last center to awaken, not the first, because intuition without grounding is like lightning without earth. Here is a sacred sequence to restore balance. First, root. Connect to the base of your spine, breathe into your legs, feel the weight of your body held by the earth. Then sacral. Flow into your pelvis. Release shame. Restore trust in movement and emotion. Only then, when the body says yes, rise into the space between your brows, not to escape reality, but to meet it with clarity and compassion. Try a daily grounding ritual. Walk slowly barefoot, even if just for 2 minutes. Scan your body from feet to crown. Whisper, I am safe in my body, I trust my senses. And remember, the third eye sees clearly, only when the lower centers are listening. By now you've seen The chakra system isn't broken, it's simply been misread. And when we bring it back to its living truth, anchored in body, breath, and presence, it becomes more than a diagram, it becomes a path of transformation. So how do we rebuild it? Precisely, gently, and with real power. Not through more rituals, but through layers of integration. Let me offer you a three-tiered map. First, structural. This is your physical body, your posture, your vagus nerve, your breath. A collapsed chest or clenched jaw can block energy more than any unbalanced chakra. When your body is open, aligned, and safe, energy begins to move. Start here. Gentle spine stretches, slow exhales, grounded movement that opens space from within. Second, energetic. This is subtle but powerful. Use sound, breathe with intention. Chant Bija mantras not to activate chakras, but to listen to where they already are. Visualize not colors, but sensations. Flow, warmth, stillness. Third, cognitive emotional. Your beliefs, your memories, your inner language. Energy cannot flow through a field filled with fear and self-rejection. Somatic therapy, journaling, and mindfulness help rewire how your emotions shape your energy. This tier connects chakras with consciousness, where real healing lives. And yes, science supports this. Polyvagal theory shows how safety rewires the nervous system. Mindfulness trains your brain to stay present with subtle sensation. Breathwork activates pathways between emotion and physiology. It's not mystical versus medical, it's integration. Here's a practice you can begin today. 10 minutes. That's all. Sit tall, spine relaxed. Inhale gently as you raise your hands upward. Exhale slowly as you bring them down through your center line. With each movement, whisper inwardly, root, sacral, solar, heart, throat, brow, crown. Don't visualize, feel. And as you move, ask your energy not to awaken, but to speak. Because this time, you are truly listening. Perhaps now, you see the chakra system differently. Not as 7 perfect wheels, but as evolving centers, fluid, intelligent, shaped by breath, your past, your presence. The truth is this: your energy body is alive. It grows when you grow, contracts when you hide, expands when you return home to yourself. What you were taught may have been beautiful, but incomplete, and that's okay. Because now, with gentleness, you can begin again, not to reject the old, but to see it with wiser eyes. The chakra system was never meant to be frozen in charts. It was meant to move with you, to reflect the sacred story of your nervous system, your healing, your becoming. So I invite you now, remap your own energy field. Let your root mean what safety feels like to you. Let your heart open not on command, but when it's ready. Let your crown be less about light and more about stillness. Read ancient texts. Explore somatic practices. Trust your intuition and your science. Because chakras are not objects. They are relationships between sensation, memory, vibration, and awareness. They are not fixed symbols. They are mirrors of your becoming. And maybe, just maybe, your chakra system isn't a ladder to climb. It's a garden to tend, where some petals open slowly and others bloom only in silence. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and return to your body as the sacred map it has always been. If this message stirred something inside you, give it space, share it with a soul who might be ready. And above all, keep listening. Your energy is speaking, and your presence is the answer.